Very warm welcome to the Trading Bell Show. This time around, we're talking matters tech and innovation. And something has just happened here at the bows with the launch of Hisa, an application that will be changing the landscape when it comes to matters investing here at the NSE. Today, I'll be speaking to the CEO and founder, Kenya Wall Street, that are behind this launch of this app, Hisa, that is Eric Asuma. Eric Asuma, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Maina.
Yeah.
Pleasure to be here.
It's good to have you here. Maybe you should have told me to as well. Dress up in a t-shirt like you, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what drove you to build Hisa and just a little bit about what Hisa is all about.
Okay, interesting. Maybe looking back, the reason we built Hisa is mainly because we were trying to solve our own challenges. So I was lucky to have worked here at the exchange a few years back, and I tried buying shares at the time, and the process was a bit difficult at the time. So and my friends were facing the same challenges. So so that's what really drove us. We're trying to solve.
When was that you were here, by the way?
That was in 2014.
2014.
Briefly for 3 months.
So you have been birthing a solution since then.
Yes. So the whole foundation, having worked here, and so first-hand challenges around how difficult that was. We said, why don't we build this on our own, because my friends also needed the same solution.
Wow. And so what is in it right now with this particular app that you've brought in that will at least solve that solution that of the challenge that you faced?
The main challenge is we're trying to democratize markets. Make it easier for anyone to save and build wealth through the stock market. When you look at our stock market, for example, not just the Kenyan stock market, but most of the frontier and emerging economies, retail access is still not at the level it should be. So through what the technology that we're building, which we're basically describing as building the tech infrastructure for borderless investments across Africa. So the whole goal is to enable anyone across Africa to easily access and save and build wealth through the stock market.
Wow. That's going to be a game changer then, right?
Hopefully.
Just at the comfort of your phone.
Exactly.
Let's get into deep conversations on this. Speaking about, your regulations approval, that is the Capital Markets Authority, and the NSE as well has backed you up since you just launched it here, as we can see, to offer fractional investing. But before you tell us about all that framework, someone will be asking, what is fractional investing? In the simplest language, what can you explain to the people who are watching?
Think of it like a pizza. So instead of buying a full pizza, what if you bought fractions of the pizza?
Wow.
As simple as that.
You'll still
a fraction of a whole share. Yes.
Wow, there you have it. Okay, now on that conversation, how significant is this approval for you and the retail investors in Kenya and Africa at large?
This is very significant. First, because it's the first in the continent. We are the first ones in the continent to have regulatory approval for fractional investing. And the whole goal is we want to make it easily accessible for anyone with as little as, say, $1 to be able to invest in the stock market. So, for example, shares. Shares that could be trading at a very high value. What if we broke them down and made it easier for anyone? So, look at it from a mama mboga, a person who is a border person who want to save and own shares of companies that they use and brands that they use on a daily basis. That's how we see how significant it is. We've already begun implementing that with US stocks. So through our app at the moment, people can actually buy fractions of companies like Amazon, Tesla, Microsoft, Apple, and the rest. So we are now going to the route of how do we build the tech for Kenyan stocks. So companies like, say, BAT, Standard Chartered, what if we brought them and made it easier for them to be easily accessible and broke them into pieces or fractions of the total?
Okay, let's go basic a little, because I represent the people who may be wondering, okay, I know there is a process of just buying shares in the country, and Hisa is coming to tell me I can buy fractional shares, and you've explained it very well about the pizza idea and all that. So for the sake of understanding, let's take a stock, for example, that is costing about, let's say, 400 shillings. Are you telling me I don't have to buy a full share at that cost, and I can buy just a fraction of it at that cost through you?
Easily. That, it's been done in other parts of the world.
So what you're saying, it's about the money I have. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Whatever quantity I have an opportunity.
Yeah. So the way we will structure that ideally is, say, the minimum investment is, say, $1 or 100 shillings.
Okay.
So
which is fairly affordable.
Yeah. If say our company is trading at 400, we can break it down into small pieces of, say, 4 shillings.
Oh.
Or even 4 cents, and then make sure the minimum investment is like
100 shillings.
Yeah. Then I mean, it's already been done in other parts of the world.
Okay. Yeah. I've actually put my paper down so that we can understand this, because this is quite a game changer. I have my 200 bob, and Hisa has enabled me at least purchase through the fractional investment that is being enabled by your app. So when I buy this particular shares, what's my stake? Will I be an equal chance holder just like any other normal shareholder? Or will I be valued lesser because I bought in fractions?
The good thing about fractional investing is that you get the same value as someone who would say 50% of the shares. So as simple as, if first we start with on the execution side, your fractional element will be executed at the same price as the market price.
Wow.
That's one.
Yeah.
Say for example dividends. If say a full share was earning 10 shillings per dividend, and you have say a tenth of that, you will receive, at that particular rate.
Okay.
If it's AGMs or voting of approvals of AGMs, voting and all that, you still get to participate. We've users who've been participating in US markets through the fractional element. I personally have been participating in that in all the companies that I've invested through our app. So you get the same value that a majority shareholder would get. Okay. So in a way, the fractional element allows, the technology allows all this to be consolidated into one.
So it's more of
an easy way.
It's a greater part of inclusion.
Yeah.
Someone will ask you, how different is this then from derivatives, for example, that have probably in a way tried to, lower the entry when it comes to the amounts that you're spending in? Have you thought about that?
Interesting. So I tend to think of it derivatives from a CFD standpoint. So when you look at the local market, we have say forex brokers offering derivative products. But derivatives don't offer you the same value. You will get, say, compared to direct investing. Okay. So if you look at, say, for example, the contract for differences, I tend to think of it in a way, you have to say load your margin, and if you don't meet certain quality, you can easily lose your money. Okay. Targeted towards very sophisticated sort of investors, but this one, we take it to the most basic level of retail investors.
Yeah. So the government has laid an agenda to enable hustlers to save and build wealth, and I'm sure you're just right into that conversation as well. Of course, through the stock market, and we saw the president really coming and visiting us here to farm how this is one of the alternatives, especially for wealth creation. So how do you see Hisa now, the app, playing a role in supporting this agenda?
Interesting. When we had the president speak about his agenda to enable hustlers to invest in the stock market.
About a guy waiting for customer trading, man.
That was like music to our ears. We've been building this for a couple of years.
Wow.
So we really got interested and said, okay, at least now we have someone who's watching the markets and to support. We are very excited about this, number one, and we are very excited to partner with the government stakeholders to see how do we roll this across the country. So when we saw that our initial thoughts were how do we get to partner with the government, with market scholars like the NSC?
Let's speak about the growth and development of the fintech sector in Kenya, because you are now a big player in it. And looking at this particular app, first in itself, it's going to revolutionize this. So what growth did you see in this sector?
Interesting. Since we went, say, the public beta, we've had tremendous growth. Over 10,000 active users. We've traded over $1 million in transaction volume within a very short time. And speaking of the fintech sector, we've seen a lot of innovation on the payment side, but very few, I mean, sort of innovations coming from the investment, wealth management space. And now that's where we come in. I mean, how we look at it is how do we partner with other players? We're thinking of how do we build the tech infrastructure for investing? How do we power the banks? How do we power the fintechs to be able to offer investing through their platforms? So our goal is actually quite diverse. And now that's why we build the tech infrastructure, power the financial institutions to be able to offer investing services to their customers, and hopefully in the long run extend this across other countries in Africa.
Wow.
Yep.
I have my phone here. Am I able to download this app?
Easily. Go to Play Store.
So I go to my Play Store.
Search Hisa, Hisa. Install.
And I'm in.
Yes, and within less than 5 minutes, verify your details.
So the only hindrance is the speed of my internet.
Yes.
It's downloading, don't worry.
Okay.
So there you have it. So whichever the way, you can download wherever you are, and it's open to any participants in these borders.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the future then? What are we looking at? And you know, I would also ask, is there plans to list as well, since you're already now a good friend to us?
Interesting. I mean, of course, I mean, it's every entrepreneur's dream to list on the stock exchange.
Yeah.
And in the long run, I mean, it's something that we will be keen to do. I mean, we are still in the early stages of the company. During the early stages, the company was initially funded by friends and family. Then we initially did, I mean, this year we've only just done our first external fundraising. We are just closing our 1 million pre-seed round. With hopefully, I mean, by the time we get to series or secondary stages, I mean, the stock market is an ideal way to create, I mean, to enable our users to own part of the company.
Wow. Yeah. I'll end this conversation by asking you to speak to critics who, some of them feel this is probably a tedious process getting into this alternative market, and yet you're here advancing solutions and making it easier for them. What's your message to them?
Interesting. I mean, there's an interesting quote that I usually look back to, which says, I mean, the person who matters, the one who is on the, who is in the trenches, building and fighting.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the only other way. You cannot critique if you're not, I mean, on the trenches and fighting and building. So the only goal is, please come and build with us.
Don't speak from the outside.
Yeah.
Invest.
Yeah, invest.
Get in there. Give solutions to what you see as problems.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Guys, Eric Asuma telling it as it is that, you know, we need to be solution givers, and he's spearheading this himself by bringing a solution by the launch of the Hisa app. You can download it right now, so do it. Check your phone, download it, and get in there and start trading. And not only just locally, but also in the US stock market, right?
Yes.